Long ago, in a living room very much like yours, two women made up a podcast on how movies link up to each other, and they called it 6 Degrees of Feature Film.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 6 Degrees of Feature Film podcast. I am I'm Brianne, also known as Miss Movies.
Have we decided on what you want to be called yet?
Yes, and what is your name?
My name is Stacey Howard.
You know what? Sometimes I just forget. Like, oh yeah, I want to go by that now.
I like both names. I know you by both names.
Okay, well.
I feel like Miss Movies is like your public persona, and Brianne is the friend that I know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so let's all be friends together on our
We should
6
all be
Degrees
friends.
of Feature Film.
6 Degrees of Friends.
Yay!
All right. So today, guess what? It's the holidays, even though it's not really, well, technically on the calendar, we are in between Halloween and Thanksgiving, but this episode is going to come out right before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Boxing Day. I don't know, when does Boxing Day happen?
No idea.
Happy New Year?
What's Boxing Day?
I don't really know.
Wait. Boxing like physically? Like
No.
Rocky boxing, or like you box up your presents day?
I think it's boxing of things.
Boxing of things.
Yeah, not Rocky boxing.
It's Rocky Day. That's what Boxing Day is.
Okay, we can change it.
Yo, Adrian, it's Boxing Day. You wrap up these gifts. Come here.
So we're going to be talking about Christmas movie. Well, not necessarily Christmas movies, but holiday themed movies.
Yes.
Holidays. And I'm sure we'll talk about some others. But I wanted to, before we get started, I wanted to thank those people that have given us reviews on iTunes. Thank you so much.
Yay. So warm and fuzzies inside going on. I love it.
I know. Let's keep that up. Let's do it. Let's get more.
Give us some stars. Or are they hearts now? Wait, no, that's Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter has hearts now.
They do.
But iTunes has stars, so give us some stars.
Yeah, let's do 5, please.
Let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
If there were 6, it would be perfect.
That's right.
But there aren't.
But there's only 5. We're missing 1.
All right, so thank you to those people that have written reviews, and we hope that we get some more. Yay, thanks.
Yay.
All right, our feature film for today is none other than one of my favorite movies, and a movie that you can see for 24 hours on TBS usually, and that is A Christmas Story.
You'll shoot your eye out.
This was released November 18th, 1983. The synopsis is Ralphie has to convince his parents, his teacher, and Santa that a Red Ryder BB gun really is the perfect gift for the 1940s. Starring Melinda Dillon as Mother Parker, Darren McGavin as Old Man Parker, Peter Billingsley as Ralphie, and some other people, you know, because it just keeps going.
It keeps going and going. There are entire lists of characters in this film, and everyone's amazing. Everybody, all the little characters are great. Every single performance is wonderful. And I don't know who anybody is. I don't know anybody.
Wait, who's your favorite character? Flick, who gets the tongue stuck.
Who gets his tongue stuck on the pole. And you know how they did that? They had like a hole drilled, and they had a little like vacuum suction thing going on. And then that way his tongue was actually like sucked into the pole and was sticking on there. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Aw.
Poor Flick.
I think Flick Flick might be into adult entertainment. Now I need to look this up.
Someone's in porn.
Someone from this movie.
I think it's the little brother.
You know what? I actually do have my computer, so I could possibly look it up.
Google this. Someone from this movie is in porn. I think it's little brother. He either was like an actor, and I use that term usually, actor in it, or he's a director now. He does something in adult films, which, you know what? I'm not going to judge too harshly. He's still in the biz. He's still doing it. He's still doing it. Yeah. He's still a cooking. He's still a going. So good for him. And it's a long fall from A Christmas Story. But,
it is.
But he's still making the ends meet. So I can't knock him for that.
You know what? It is Flick. It's got to be because
Flick?
he was in Scotty's X-Rated Adventure. I don't know what that is.
Oh,
Who knows? No, I don't know. Okay.
Your
well,
Google
anyways.
history is now going to be very risque.
Oh, goodness.
Gotta erase that history.
Yeah. It says in the 1990s, Schwartz worked, his name is Scott Schwartz, as Flick. In the 1990s, Schwartz worked in the adult film industry in minor non-sexual roles and behind the scenes in numerous administrative roles.
So he's
he's
a
fluffer an administrative role, or is
maybe,
that okay?
Maybe.
Well, maybe we should. This is the holiday episode. Maybe we should get to more holiday things.
This is the family one. So let's say that he's a very kind, loving man, and when two people love each other very much, they make a movie with each other and they touch each other.
There you go. This was directed by Bob Gale, who also did Porky's and Baby Geniuses.
Oh my gosh! No way! I didn't even realize that. Those are two great movies as well. You know what? Porky's is like the #1 movie in Canada. Still to this day. It's like the highest grossing movie in Canada ever. Porky's.
I gotta look that up. That is crazy.
That's like, I swear I heard that fact somewhere, and I was like, that makes sense.
Not like a hockey movie?
I would think a hockey movie. Nope. It's not Miracle or whatever. I don't know any
Mighty
hockey
Ducks.
movies. Mighty Ducks. There we go. Better hockey movie than I just came up with. How did I not think of Mighty
Mystery
Ducks?
Alaska. Could
Never
be
heard
any
of
of
that.
those.
Never heard of
that. This is written by Gene Shepard, who is also the narrator of the movie. And he also wrote It Runs in the Family, It Runs in the Family, My Summer Story, which is the sequel to A Christmas Story, which did come out. I don't know if it went in theaters, but it is available somewhere. And my husband actually tried out for the bully role in that.
Oh, and he didn't get it?
He didn't. He lost out to, it was like between him and whoever got it.
Okay.
So there you go.
Well, I've
so
never
it was
heard
down
of
to
this
those
project,
two.
so he shouldn't feel too bad.
Because, it's all right.
It wasn't a career launching move. I'm sure.
Exactly. I don't remember when I first saw this, but I think when I was a kid and I first saw it, I believe that I didn't get it. As a kid, I was like,
didn't get why it was popular, or?
Yeah, I was like, okay, he wants the BB gun, and I didn't find it necessarily funny, but the older I got and the more I watched it, I actually enjoy it more. So I think that's interesting.
You know what? Because when it first came out, here's what I have kind of read, and a few of the actors, the ones that played the bully with the raccoon hat and everything.
Yes,
what's his
Scud.
name? Scud. That's right. He was on The View or on The Talk or something like that a couple of years ago talking about the film, and it wasn't necessarily super successful when it came out. It did mildly well, but there were other movies that overshadowed it. But after a few years, it became this big cult classic, and I think it's because the movie itself is not really for kids. It's more for adults.
Right.
It's got funny adult themes in it. And it's like an adult the movie represents to me an adult looking back nostalgically on his childhood and remembering the things that he loved growing up, that he was scared of, that he thought was funny. It's adults looking at childhood and Christmas and family. So it's not really for children. It's more for, the next generation looking back on their generation in the past. So I think as an adult, you appreciate it more, like when you're older.
Right. Exactly.
Because I know I saw it when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. And, I remember liking it because my parents really liked it. Like my whole family, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, we would always watch it. And they thought, it was just like uproarious. They thought it was so funny. And I thought that was fun, that they liked it, that we were all watching it as a family together. And then as I grew up, I appreciated and understood the jokes more. And I didn't understand what the whole cursing thing was, because I was like, well, he just said
words. Fudge.
Yeah, he's saying fudge. What is this?
What's the big problem?
Yeah, why is the dad just going da 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 below the thing? I don't understand. But now as an adult, I get it. It's like they're cursing, but it's a family film, so you can't really. So they're walking around it, and that's why it's funny.
Right. Now, Melinda Dillon, her character as Mother Parker is my favorite mom in movies because she or at least one of them, at least in the top 5, I'd say, because she reminds me of kind of the mom that I am. Like, she really cares for her children. She does things like she's gonna break that lamp because, or there's an accident. It's just a lot of things that I do with my kids. I can see through her character on screen. the kid's hiding under the sink. So she doesn't make him get out. She just goes, gets him a glass of water or milk and lets him sit there.
That was my dad growing up. This mom in this was my dad growing up. Very, very understanding. And he knew that I was like a kind of a difficult child and very emotional. And so I was like, the younger brother, and would just kind of let me be myself and just very lovingly, acceptingly say, okay, this is what you need. Here's some milk under the sink. Like you said, I was that, little emotional child growing up. So my dad was like my mom in this movie. Right. So I get that. Oh, that's cute. You're
not telling the dad about the fight that the son got in, things like that. This movie actually inspired the creation of the Wonder Years, which I like that television show. I'm sure that's a little behind or ahead of your growing
I know
up.
of it. I've never really watched it growing up, but I do, I've seen a few episodes, and I think, is it Danica Patrick?
Yes.
No, is that the race car one? Danica
something.
McKellar,
yes.
something like that.
But it is Danica.
She's great in it, and she's grown up to be, she's written math textbooks and stuff like that. She's a big advocate for STEM, for women in STEM and everything. She's a wonderful person in general, and I know that she was on that show, and she was everyone's childhood crush. So
yes.
Sorry,
I was looking at my notes.
On a tangent about the Wonder Years and women in STEM,
and Jack Nicholson was considered for the dad in this film, which would have been pretty fitting. Like that, I could see that him playing that role pretty well.
But and what was it? It was Jack Nicholson wanted to do it, but it was too expensive. And then the director was like, it ended up working out perfectly because nobody could have done that role the way
Darren McGavin.
That Darren McGavin did it. He was born to play that role, and he was fantastic. I think if Jack Nicholson had done it, the movie would have been a bigger deal, and he would have stolen the scene more, and it would have been more about him as the dad versus the children and the family and what they're going through, and then the adults are just kind of part of it and they have reactions to it. So I don't know if I would have liked Jack Nicholson in this role. I think he's too big. He's too Jack Nicholson-y for it.
Now, one thing before we move on to our next film, or to our links in our next films, one thing that I thought was interesting as a kid that changed as an adult is there's a dream sequence where Ralphie is blind. And I didn't get it as a kid. Why is he blind, but he's still a kid and he's acting like he's older? And now I understand, it's a kid dreaming about what he would be like older, but he still can't, actually envision himself being older. So he has to envision himself as a kid.
That's pretty genius.
Yes,
that
exactly.
Is pretty genius. And was that a thing back in the, because, my parents never put soap in my mouth if I, said a bad word. Is that something that people do? Was that a big thing back then, or is
wash your mouth out with soap?
I've heard of that, but they certainly never actually did it.
I don't know if it was, or if that's just something you heard of, or if that was just an expression so they went with it. But I'm sure people had done it before. But it's pretty gross. Have you ever put soap in your mouth?
No.
It's gross.
No.
I tried it, probably
Obviously,
because of the movie.
Because I still have a potty mouth, so I probably need some soap in my mouth. That was just, that whole part of it, I was like, this is weird. That's what an archaic punishment.
Exactly.
I thought it was really, really cruel and mean, but she was a strict mama bear. She was like, don't have a potty mouth.
All right, so that's going to close it up for A Christmas Story. From here, we're going to go to Christmas movies.
Yay.
And I'm going to have Stacy go ahead and start with hers.
So, my Christmas movie is one that is a modern classic, shall we say, endlessly quotable. Everyone from my generation, this is probably one of their favorite Christmas movies that we grew up with and just really, really loved and is always a part of our lives. I'm talking about Elf. Big old, tall Will Ferrell playing a little elf. That's comedy gold right there.
November 7th, 2003.
2003 made $173 million at the U.S. box office alone.
Nice.
So I think, this
220 worldwide.
220 worldwide. That's huge. That's a big, big movie. Especially for it's just a good old Christmas comedy. You know, it's not like it's a Marvel movie or something, but that's a lot of money to make for just a little Christmas film.
Which is kind of insane that Will Ferrell turned down $29 million to do Elf 2.
He did.
Because if it's made this kind of money... Now, that was in 2013 that he turned that down. So maybe they just had never intended on doing Elf 2 and then decided, hey, remember that movie that made a ton of money? Like, let's go back and maybe do another one.
Yeah. Which I can, you know what? I can picture an Elf sequel, though. Like,
sure.
I mean, though.
But not without.
Not without Will Ferrell. Like, I can see him in an Elf sequel. I still think that'd be okay. But I'd want him to, like, go back to the North Pole and he has to, like, save it because something went wrong. Like, I would want it in our world again. I would want it in the North Pole.
Right.
In the land of candy canes and Santa Claus. Well, for those of you who haven't seen Elf, here's the synopsis. After inadvertently wreaking havoc on the elf community due to his ungainly size, a man raised as an elf at the North Pole is sent to the U.S. in search of his true identity. So, I mean, I watch it every Christmas, every time it's on TNT. It stars Will Ferrell, Zooey Deschanel, James Caan, Bob Newhart, Mary Steenburgen, and Peter Dinklage. You guys, Tyrion Lannister himself has a small little cameo in this, and he's fantastic. He runs across the table and tackles Will Ferrell, who thinks that he is an elf.
Right.
Like, Will Ferrell thinks that Peter Dinklage is an elf and is really excited to see someone from home and starts asking him about, Santa Claus, did you come here all the way from the North Pole? And, of course, which sounds terrible. And
I don't think this would work today. Like, that particular part of the movie, I just don't feel would work.
Yeah, it would have been politically incorrect. Like, people would be uncomfortable. They'd be like, this is, no.
I mean, it was at the time, but I think it's even more so now.
Even more so now. And also because Peter Dinklage has gone on to do some incredible roles that have nothing to do with his size.
Right.
I mean, his role in Game of Thrones, obviously he, in the books he is, a dwarf. And then, in the show he is. And that's why, he got the role is because he was the best person for that role and he had the right height for it, I guess. But there are other roles that he has done, like in X-Men Days of Future Past, and that have like he is just an actor,
right?
And so I don't think he would have accepted this role after his incredible career surge has gone on now. So because it's just like for a little person. So
now this is a movie, I'm going to be completely honest here, where I liked it when I saw it in the theaters and I purchased it when it came out on DVD. And the more I watched it, the less I liked it. And I don't know why. I was like, I don't know what changed. Like, why do I not like it anymore?
You know what?
What was it?
It's simple. It's a sweet, cute, very simple movie. And it's, like I said, endlessly quotable. And you don't have to turn your brain on really to watch it. It's just family fun. It's a warm, loving man who just wants to, bring happiness to the world and find his dad and find himself. And it's like a simple story. So if you watch it over and over again, it might lose some of its, magic, some of its warmth. Because
now I plan on showing it to my kids. So there's something still there like that. It's not like I'm completely dead to Elf. But I'm just like, I don't know. I think they would like it, definitely. And they are 3 and 5, so.
They will for sure. They'll like that he gets super excited and eats a bunch of candy and syrup.
Oh my gosh, that's the most disgusting. And he
so
actually had to do that.
He actually had to do it, and he got headaches from it because he had such a sugar rush and was so sick to his stomach. And then, and I'll talk about, so my favorite scene is when, and I'm going to yell in a bit, Santa! I know him! Like that, it's such pure joy. He's here. And running around and smashing over presents. Like, kids are going to love that. They'll love this film.
Okay.
They will.
I'm sure they will.
Don't worry about it. I'm excited. Call me and put me on speakerphone when they're watching it, and I'll coach them through the film and tell them all the parts they should be laughing at.
I should just give them some microphones, record it.
Yes.
They can do the running commentary on the film.
Oh my gosh, how fun would that be to do a DVD commentary where it's just kids, like little kids talking about the film.
Oh, we're going to do this.
And their weird theories. That actually sounds really fun. Someone needs to do that.
My daughter already wants her own YouTube channel, so this could get off.
Well, there you go.
We'll see.
Oh,
man. Did you know that this was a Broadway musical? Because I didn't.
I did not know that, no.
It premiered November 2010, and it ran through January of 2011. So not a very long run, but I mean, it makes sense because it's Christmas time.
It might have just been like a short little.
I guess, but like you'd think, oh, maybe every Christmas we'll bring this back. Like, you know, the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Usually that comes out
right
around Thanksgiving time and runs for a few months and stuff.
Those are always fun to see with the family, and you know, we would always like dress up and go kind of early and have like little root beer floats somewhere, and like we'd make a night of it. I always love stuff like that. Now, the elf Ming Ming, who appears briefly in the beginning of the film, is played by Peter Billingsley, who starred as Ralphie Parker in the classic film A Christmas Story that we just talked about. How fun is that?
I love that connection.
So that's a nice little connection there. That's fantastic.
Love it.
Let's see. On the final day of shooting in New York, it was just the director, Will Ferrell, and a cameraman driving around the city looking for locations to shoot. So they would jump out and ask pedestrians if they would be willing to be extras for some quick cash, while Ferrell paraded around acting like Buddy the elf. Much of the montage when Buddy first arrives in New York was filmed then, such as when he is getting his shoes shined and jumping between traffic, which actually caused a lot of traffic collisions, like little fender benders. But they were like so surprised that it's Will Ferrell wearing an elf costume. What SNL sketch is this? You know,
right? Well, and this was his first film since SNL, so I'm sure people who live in New York, they've got to know who's on the cast of SNL because I'm sure they see them around.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be so fun to see an SNL cast member like out and about doing a bit? I'd be like, oh my God, I'm making history right now. That'd be incredible.
My husband saw Jimmy Fallon out. So back when there was Tower Records, my husband was in New York with a friend of his. And they were just in Tower Records. And I guess like Jimmy Fallon like interacted with both of them. And they both were like, I don't know who you are. Because like, I guess he was like, I don't know, somehow like, my husband had to say excuse me to him to get by and, looked at him and he was like, he gave me this look of like, you know, you're my demographic. Like, how come you don't recognize me kind of look. Like he gave me a look as though I should have known who he was. And he's like, and I didn't. And the same thing happened with my friend Matt. And he's like the same exact thing. They both didn't recognize him. And then later they were like, that guy in the record store was kind of weird, huh? Who was that? And then they're like, oh, it was Jimmy Fallon.
Wait, so how did they realize later that it was Jimmy Fallon if they didn't recognize him in person?
I don't know. Maybe someone said it. Like,
maybe.
Did you guys see Jimmy Fallon or whatever in there? I don't know.
That's so funny. I would be offended too if no one knew who I was. You better know who I am when you meet me.
I know who you are.
Okay, good job.
All right, so moving on to another Christmas film that I selected, and I selected White Christmas, which came out October 14th, 1954. Now, did you see it?
Now, okay, I have seen the movie, but in bits and pieces throughout my life, and many, many times my mom loves this movie. So I've seen the whole thing, but never sat down to watch it in its entirety, like in one sitting.
Got it.
So it's one of those films that it's a classic Christmas movie. You have to see it. And I, like it would always be on at our house. And so I would get like, little snippets of it. And then I just haven't like sat down to be like, oh, I'm going to watch White Christmas.
Yes.
Because it's always on. So it's not like I need to have a sitting. I should.
Sure. You should start it from the beginning. This is a successful song and dance team who become romantically involved with a sister act and team up to save a failing Vermont inn of their former commanding general. Starring Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye, Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen.
And yes, you youngins wondering, Rosemary Clooney is George Clooney's aunt.
Yep.
So they are related.
I have no idea how much it costs to make this film, but they made $30 million. So
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Oh wait, no,
I mean, unless their budget was
the
like
most
huge.
successful film of '54.
It probably was.
I think so. I think I read that.
It did. It was nominated for an Oscar for Best Original Song for "Count Your Blessings" instead of "Sheep," which. Out of all the songs, I'm kind of surprised. Like that one doesn't stick in my head as much as some other ones. Like Rosemary Clooney does this really great one where it was like, "Love, You Didn't Do Right by Me." I thought that one's really good. And maybe that was a song that was already popular at the time, or I don't know if that was written directly for the movie for the screen. But that one, I think, is the best actual song out of aside from White Christmas, but But White Christmas, this wasn't the first debut of that song as well. That was played in Holiday Inn, which was also with Bing Crosby, which has some similarity crossovers to it. And I think White Christmas was kind of supposed to be connected in a way to that universe.
Oh,
I mean, the inn is exactly the same inn as in Holiday Inn.
Okay.
They've just kind of spruced it up a little bit. But you can tell, like, if you've seen Holiday Inn, you'll be like, oh, yeah, this is very familiar to me.
Okay.
I actually think that White Christmas is the superior film to the two because there's more production to it in terms of, like, there's a lot more dancers and a lot of big numbers, whereas Holiday Inn is kind of just the four main characters and they all kind of run through the productions on there. And it's just not as grand, I should say.
Now, you know what's funny is that whenever I think of this movie, I always think of the song Sisters first. I don't think of White Christmas.
Sisters is great too.
And that was not originally in the script. They were like messing around on set and the director was laughing and liked it so much that they put it in the movie. And the actors themselves are cracking up.
Oh, you mean when the men do it?
Yeah, exactly.
So that part wasn't in.
Right.
But the original Sisters, them singing was. Yeah. But... Which is great. That is a good part. And I do like that they're laughing at the end, and you can totally tell.
Because I was first introduced to the film when we were doing our end of the year, like, you know, big choir showstoppers. And this was in high school. And they, 4 of the people performed this. It was my two friends, and they did the song first. And I was like, that's a cute song. And then they had... 2 of our guy friends come out and have the costumes, and they just stood behind the girls stood behind the curtain and sang while the guys acted out. I thought that's so funny. It's so hilarious that they did that. Where'd they come up with that idea?
Yeah.
My mom was like, it's from White Christmas, dummy. And I was like, whoa, okay, we gotta see it then. So yeah, this movie to me. It's all about that sisters act right there,
and it's a good act.
It is.
Now when they were doing. There's like a little flub in the movie because while they were prepping to go on stage for that sisters routine, Betty and Judy mentioned that their brother is out of the country in Alaska. And the movie was released in 1954 and Alaska wasn't admitted as a state until 1959. So he was out of the country.
That's pretty funny to think about. I always forget that Alaska didn't come in to be part of America until like the 50s.
So when you watch it now, you might be like, but he's not out of the country technically, but he was technically.
And you know, after the final shot, they informed that they would be redoing the finale because the King and Queen of Greece would be visiting the set, and the producer wanted them to give something to remember. So they reshot the sequence, but they didn't put the film in there. So they just like kind of gave them a little show. That's fun.
That is fun. Out of all the things, I'd be like, oh man, that number, you know, like, I mean, it's a good one. And I guess, well, it depends on how much they went into it. Because if they just did the very last number with White Christmas, that one's pretty nice. But if they were doing the whole like army part where they're doing that whole army show at the very end, then I would be like, you know, like it's good, but it's just not the same as some of the other stuff. You're correct. It's the most successful film of 1954. And when Rosemary Clooney's character goes off by herself for a while and she does the Love You Didn't Do Right By Me song, Bernardo from West Side Story is one of the dancers.
Oh my gosh.
I love
Bernardo.
That. And Bob Fosse is an uncredited choreographer for the film.
Fun. Oh,
love that Bob Fosse.
Fosse.
Honestly, there are so many good actual dance numbers in this film. Like I made a list of like the best dance sequences in film and all the different ways that you could see them through musical or through a dance movie or through just a movie that doesn't even include like have a dance theme to it or anything like that. But almost pretty much any number from White Christmas could be included.
Absolutely.
There's so many good ones. Anyways, that's White Christmas. Hooray.
Hooray.
Stacey's going to go ahead and let you know what her link off of Elf is going to be.
So, from A Christmas Story, we went Christmas movies. I did Elf. From Elf, I'm going to do movies where the characters enter another realm.
Oh.
Because Buddy goes from... And I know the North Pole is like part of Earth. Like,
yes.
I know that. But you know, in a sense, that is another realm.
Still magical.
Yeah, like a magical thing, and then he enters our world, the human world. So I'm going to do where characters enter through, you know, mind, body, spirit, physically, whatever, enter another realm. So my first one is going to be Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yay!
So, of course, he, you know, exits the realm of Halloween and goes into Christmas Town. And, here, I'll read the little thing. Okay. Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, is bored with doing the same thing every year for Halloween. One day he stumbles into Christmas Town and is so taken with the idea of Christmas that he tries to get the resident bats, ghouls, and goblins of Halloween Town to help him put on Christmas instead of Halloween. But alas, they can't get it quite right. I think this is the perfect movie to watch around this time because it's Halloween and Christmas, and there's the, you know, age-old debate of is it a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie? And
it can't be both?
And to me it's both, but some people, like, they have to have labels, you know?
Sure.
And so
of course, those people.
So it's that debate of, but I think it's the perfect time for now because we're in that holiday season, that transitional season. And Tim Burton got the idea for this concept from, he saw a department store was taking down Halloween decorations and putting up their Christmas decorations like the day after Halloween.
Right.
And that juxtaposition of having the Halloween and Christmas together just gave him this wacky idea of putting the two worlds, you know, when the two worlds collide. And he wrote a poem about it. It was like a 2 or 3 page poem. And then from that came, you know, the script and the film and, you know, the whole production and everything. So it came out in 1993, made $75 million. I first saw it it's the cast as, you know, voice actors and singers.
Yeah, Danny Elfman. I was surprised.
Voice. Yeah, he's the singing voice and wrote all the music for the film. And he said it was his easiest job. He wrote 10 songs for the film, and it was like the easiest thing he'd ever done.
I could totally see this as a stage production.
Absolutely. Oh, it'd be gorgeous as a stage production. I mean, you know how like The Lion King became a, you know, this huge Broadway hit, and they have all the like people on the animal things, and,
right?
Like all the stilts and everything as animals. Like something like that could be done for this.
Totally.
To capture
Disney.
The motion capture.
Let's do this, Disney.
Come on, Disney. Come on, get on it, Big D. Come on. Catherine O'Hara is Sally. Glenn Shadix is the mayor, which everyone knows from many other Tim Burton films, including Beetlejuice. He plays the one of their art friends that comes for dinner, and he like plays the bongos. He's like the bigger guy.
Yeah, who redecorates the house.
Yeah,
who was also in Heathers.
Yes, exactly. Throwback to other episodes.
There he is.
And Paul Rubens is Locke, who of course is Pee-wee.
Yes,
from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So okay. I first saw it as a teenager, and I thought, like, I was scared when I was little. Like, I saw it when I was a teenager in whole, but when I was little, I remember seeing kind of snippets of it on TV, or my older brother was watching it, and I was really terrified of it. I thought it was a really scary concept. I didn't realize that it was a very quirky and, you know, dark, but warm look at holidays and Halloween and Christmas and the Christmas spirit and everything. I thought it was supposed to be like a horror film because the creatures and it all looked so creepy.
They are creepy.
But the tone of it and the heart of it is wonderful. So
now I had only seen it like in bits as well, and I just watched it like 2 weeks ago because I was like, I should watch the rest of this. My kids started to watch it. So
were they scared?
I watched it. They were scared. I think we turned it off
at
some point, like, all right, this is enough for you for this evening.
Yeah, especially, you know, with like the boogeyman and everything. Like it's super. It gets you scared. It gets your goosebumps going.
They just liked this poster that they saw at swim class. There was a poster of Jack Skellington and Sally and Zero, and they really like latched onto that because they liked it a lot. And I was like, oh, we could watch that movie. And then they were like, this is a little too much for me.
It might be a little too much for a 3 or 5. Maybe like when they're like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll like it later.
Appropriate time. But as little kids, it's hard to explain to them that like this looks creepy, but it's actually very heartwarming. Like
right, they won't get it.
You know that message doesn't really get across. My favorite scene is what's this? what's this? There's magic everywhere. It's such a wonderful song. And people always think like This Is Halloween is like the main song for this. But I'm like, no, it's What's This? Like,
I like
that is
one
my
too.
favorite, the most recognizable song. And it just kind of captures the spirit of the movie and being entranced by another world and wanting to bring that world into your own and make it your own. And everyone has their own interpretation of what Christmas means, what Halloween means, and what you find nice or fun or scary or whatever. And so I like that he's just so joyously exploring this new world of his, and he's so excited. And I really, really like that scene, and I love that song, and I can listen to it all the time. It's very, very Christmassy.
I like that Disneyland will change the Haunted Mansion to have Nightmare Before Christmas as its theme for from Halloween through Christmas. I think that's really cute. I kind of wish it would stay that way, but I understand why they change it.
It is Christmassy, and the line is out the door once they do that. Like for Haunted Mansion, like it's always kind of long, but once they change it to that theme that everyone knows and everyone loves, A Nightmare Before Christmas, it's like, oh, we're going. It's like what you have to do when you go to Disneyland.
You can get a fast pass, so
you can get a fast pass, but then the line's like an hour, and that's a lot of time. That's a lot of churros to get through. It's a lot of popcorn. And then
my daughter almost did it. We were in line for about 10 minutes, and then I was trying to tell her kind of how the ride goes so she would know, so she would understand. And so that way she's prepared and she's not afraid. And I said, we're going to take an elevator, and it's going to go down, and then they're going to turn off the lights in the elevator. And she was like, okay, I want to go. And I was like, all right.
Well, you're a good mom for preparing her for that. You're like Ralphie's mom, preparing her
I was trying.
for all the for anything bad that might happen in the world. That's sweet of you.
What's the name of that character? Because I had a issue while watching. So what's the name of the big guy that like guards Santa, that like makes it so Santa can't leave?
Oh, I forgot.
He's like a big sack of something.
Wait, hold on.
If you don't know it, it's okay.
Boogie or whatever.
Okay.
Boogie Oogie something.
I didn't like him.
It's like the boogeyman.
Okay.
Like he's a scary man, right?
Yes.
And originally, I'm like blanking on what the actual name is. It's like Oogie Boogie or something like that, but it's like the boogeyman guy. And originally, someone wanted it to be where, like the doctor, the mad scientist. He's just called mad scientist in the credits. But Sally's like doctor guy, that he was like the boogeyman in disguise, and Tim Burton got so upset he like kicked a door or something. He's like, no, that is not how it is. So yeah, he might have been secretly some kind of like just disguised creature, and it's really the doctor. But yeah, it's like Oogie Boogie or something like that. Why can I not think of the name?
I don't know.
Boogie
it's okay.
Oogie,
it's okay.
Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. That's it. That's definitely
Company
it.
beat.
It took 3 years and 100 people to finish the film. And it is stated in the making of book that the most difficult shot to film in the entire movie is the shot where Jack is reaching for the doorknob to Christmas Land, because you have to see the whole reflection of the woods behind him and himself. And so as a stop motion, thing, that was the hardest thing to do, was have this little hand to reach and see all the reflection and like turn the knob, but then not have reflection of anybody working on anything in the back.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Apparently that was, that was like the hardest thing to do, was that little doorknob turning scene. Not creating.
So simple.
Yeah,
seems
so simple.
So simple looking.
So simple, but so difficult.
I get it.
So that is A Nightmare Before Christmas. It's on Netflix.
Yay.
If you haven't seen it, watch it, watch it, watch it. It's good for all times of year, but especially Halloween and Christmas time.
I definitely watched it on Netflix. I'm really excited that I'm back on Netflix.
Good job.
Yay.
Yay.
Hooray. All right, so we're going to go to mine. So we started with A Christmas Story, then we did Christmas films. Stacy did Elf. I did White Christmas. From White Christmas, I'm going to do holiday classics, or more specifically, I'll do Christmas classics, because both of mine are Christmas movies. And I wanted to start off, and Stacy knows which one I'm going to say because we had kind of talked about it before. But the movie A Christmas Carol there are so many different iterations of A Christmas Carol that I just kind of wanted to touch on that for a second. First of all, it was a book. And then the first original feature film of Christmas Carol was in 1938. That was called A Christmas Carol. But there were about 5 movies and 4 TV movies, one short of the same name. All of those shared the same name. Scrooge or Marley's Ghost was the first short film adaptation in 1901.
Whoa.
And there are 24 iterations of the film in various adaptations. So this is quite a popular story, if you will. The one that I chose, the iteration that I chose, was Mickey's Christmas Carol, which debuted on December 16th, 1983. This is the classic Disney animated characters playing the roles in the animated retelling of Charles Dickens' masterpiece. Starring Mickey, Scrooge, I'm not going to go through all the characters, but anyways, directed by Bernie Mattinson, who also directed The Great Mouse Detective. I like The Great Mouse Detective. I don't know if you've seen that. And obviously written by Charles Dickens, but then adapted into this short film. It was nominated for Best Short Film for an Oscar. My favorite scene is probably when Goofy shows up as Jacob Marley, and my daughter loves that as well, and she kind of gets a little scared by Jacob Marley. Like sometimes when my husband comes home, we have stairs that go up to our house, and my daughter will be like, "Who's there?" And my husband will go, "It's Jacob Marley." And I'm like,
that's mean.
I know, he's terrible sometimes. So this was, okay, on the original 1975 LP, which served as an inspiration for the film, the ghost of Christmas Past was Merlin from The Sword in the Stone. And the ghost of Christmas Future was the evil witch from the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh. So that was kind of where they wanted to, the LP means like the record that they made for it. The theatrical release of the film was part of a 1983 reissue of The Rescuers from 1977.
Oh, okay.
So they reissued The Rescuers and threw this in front of it. And so I just like this film because, first of all, it's short, so it's easy to show kids. It's not too scary, aside from when Pete shows up. I don't know. Have you seen this one?
I've never seen this.
Oh, my gosh.
Before.
Okay.
I know. I'm sorry.
I was like, wait a minute.
Now, because I've seen many of the different versions of A Christmas Carol. And when I was younger, I actually would always get A Christmas Carol and A Christmas Story confused.
Sure.
I didn't really know the difference. I was like, it's a Christmas thing. It's the movie. I know. It's with the BB gun. They're like, no, it's actually like a classic novel. But I've seen different versions of it, and I haven't seen this animated version of it. So apparently
it's very cute.
Good. Oh.
It is cute. If you were to buy it today, like as a DVD, or I mean, some people, you could just buy it individually on iTunes or whatever your platform is. But usually it comes with 2 other films. It used to, I swear, and I'm not positive about this, but it used to come with like Donald's Snowball Fight, which was an awesome short film, and it was like him against Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and they like set up these huge fortresses, and it's just hilarious. But I don't think it comes with that one anymore. It comes with a different one about a boy and a mule or something. I never watched that one, so I don't know what the first one is. But the second one is that it comes with is Pluto's Christmas, where he's battling the chipmunks. Somehow the chipmunks Mickey cuts down a Christmas tree, which has the chipmunks in it. It's their house. And he brings that Christmas tree into his house. And now, Chip and Dale are in the house and they see Pluto, and there's a whole to-do about getting the chipmunks out of the house.
Oh my gosh.
And Pluto having, Mickey not understanding what Pluto's doing because he doesn't know about Chip and Dale. But that one's pretty funny too. So you get those 3. You get the one I don't really know about, and then you get Pluto's Christmas as well as A Christmas Carol. And my kids usually, the only part that scares them is the part about, Jacob Marley sometimes. But when Pete shows up, he's the ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh, okay.
And so he's a little menacing, if you will. but the rest is very sweet. If you know the story, like we go through the changes of Scrooge and see how he becomes a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a dark tale, though. Like, to
it
think about,
is.
like, you're going through, like, ghosts are leading you around on Christmas night, and it's in chains and everything. That's, like, kind of freaky to think about. Yeah.
Well, that particular ghost, because that one's the ghost that's coming back to warn him. That was his old partner.
Oh, yeah.
From his business of mortgage or whatever he does. And that partner was coming back to warn him, like, if you continue to do this, this is how you're going to end up just like me. So these ghosts are going to come, and if you listen to them, and if you kind of go along with it, and maybe you'll become a better person because of this. So try not to become like me. It's basically the story there.
That's scary. It should be a Halloween movie.
It should be. Ghosts. So Jiminy Cricket is a ghost. Yep. He's the ghost of Christmas past. And then Willie the Giant is the ghost of Christmas present. And then Pete is the ghost of Christmas future.
Who plays, what's the little boy in there that has a wooden leg? Or
Tiny Tim.
Who plays Tiny Tim?
I don't know who voices Tiny Tim, but it's just a little Mickey Mouse.
Oh, it's a little baby. A little baby mouse. Oh, that's cute. Yes. Okay.
So Mickey and Minnie have, I think, 3 kids, a boy and a girl, and then Tiny Tim, little boy. So
does Tiny Tim have a wooden leg, or does he just have a cough?
He has a crutch.
He has a crutch. That's right.
Yes.
See, I don't even know the story that well.
Sorry.
I've seen all the versions, but they're all different. So sometimes I'm like, what is the original story, and what are the original characters' names? Because there's so many different interpretations of it.
I wouldn't mind seeing A Christmas Carol that's at the end of the movie Scrooged. Have you seen Scrooged with Bill Murray? Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing that one. That one looked fun. I was like, Mary Lou Retton as Tiny Tim? What? Sounds awesome.
Okay, so
back to Stacy.
We did
going into another realm.
So I went from Elf to movies where characters go into another realm. First, Nightmare Before Christmas. Now I'm going to Being John Malkovich. So he doesn't really go into another realm, but you, for those of you who are not familiar with the synopsis, puppeteer discovers a portal that leads literally into the head of the movie star John Malkovich. So you go into someone else's mind, and you, like, leave your own body and go to John Malkovich's body, which is a crazy, crazy idea. And Charlie Kaufman's brilliant for thinking of it. It came out in 1999, one of the best years for movies.
I agree.
In my opinion. Or the best year in cinema. So many movies came out in 99, and they're all fantastic. Made $23 million in the U.S., and I didn't see it until a few years ago because it always just looked so weird. And I was like, why is Cameron Diaz in a weird
she
wig?
Looks so
She looks
gross.
ratchet in this movie. She really, really did a fantastic job in this dramatic role.
Yes, both of them. Her and John Cusack, right?
Yeah, John Cusack. Gosh. Oh, and then he has, like,
the monkey.
The monkey. There's a monkey in this movie. There's randomly a monkey, and also Catherine Keener.
Yes.
As well, does a fantastic job. Look at Jess Smokin in this film.
Yeah,
She's hot little potato in this, and does a fantastic job as an actress. Let's see. It's, and it stars, of course, being John Malkovich himself. My favorite scene is the multiple.
I was gonna say, it's the Malkovich scene, isn't it? Yes, that is the best when he goes into his own mind.
It's absolutely insane. And then, of course, when you watch adaptation, there's a fake behind the scenes scene of that scene, which is by the same writer. I don't know if I explained that right. So Charlie Kaufman wrote both films, and in adaptation, it's about, like, he is a writer, and he had written Being John Malkovich. So there's, like, a fake behind the scenes of this movie, and it's like John Malkovich is, like, like, dressed up in all the outfits and everything, and everyone has, like, John Malkovich heads on, and he's like, now you guys need to hurry up the scene because these hats are hot, so you really need to get, like, it's so weird and, like, just so meta and funny and into itself, and it's absolutely insane. In a radio interview, writer Charlie Kaufman explained that while pitching John Malkovich the story, Kaufman was informed, much to his surprise, that Malkovich lived at the time in a Manhattan apartment located on the 7th and a half floor.
Stop it.
I know. So in the film, they're in the the way you get into John Malkovich's mind is a little door, and they're in like this office building that's on the 7th and a half floor. There's like a half floor, some kind of architecture weird thing that they did, and there's like a little door, and someone opens it and discovers you go into John Malkovich's mind. And John Malkovich lived on the 7th and a half floor in Manhattan. That's absolutely insane. Like, that was not part of the film at all.
That is hilarious.
Absolutely
I just
crazy.
love when you're trying to, when he first goes, I don't even remember how the discovery of, we have to get to the 7th and a half floor. But I just love when it's like, okay, you see 7 and you see 8 and there's no like 7 and a half.
Yeah.
So then the person like stops it and gets the crowbar out.
That's
and, like,
that's such a Kaufman
oh
moment.
man,
It's so
hilarious.
weird. It's so weird, but fun and crazy and hilarious.
And everyone just has their head down because it's, not an actual floor. So.
It's so insane to think of, like, who thinks of things like this?
People on drugs.
People on drugs.
I don't know.
It's crazy. The scene where the can is thrown at John Malkovich's head is real. So there are a few different versions of the story, like the trivia section of IMDb is different. One say that it's an extra was drunk and did it just when they were passing by. And John Malkovich's reaction is genuinely like, what? Oh my God. And then there's another version where they were asking people, or like they didn't think they would have time to do it because they thought it would take like 70 or 80 takes to get the can to hit the head. So finally, they just asked everyone on set, who wants to try and hit John Malkovich with a can of beer? And everyone was like, me. And one guy volunteered, I think it was like, some set PA or something, and got it on the first try. And so it's one take, and he wanted to do that because he said that, when you're shooting this or when you're filming this movie, you may not have as much sympathy for John Malkovich, but he himself is really, torn out of his own body and everything. Right. And just has this, he wanted to show him being vulnerable and have the audience be like, oh no, poor John Malkovich. He like very genuinely was hurt by the can and like shocked that someone threw it at him. So I really liked that scene. And that's one of those great movie moments and movie trivia things where you're like, that's such an odd thing to happen.
Right.
But it's John Malkovich just being hit with a beer can on the highway.
Hilarious
and weird.
I just love
weirdest movies ever.
When they come out of his head. I just love that they drop by the side of the road.
Yeah,
like,
it's by the
where
by the New Jersey Turnpike or something.
I want to see but like we don't see where like how they're dropping out of something.
Yeah, and
so
then
it's not like it's a slide or something.
None of
just
the cars
appear.
like calling traffic control, being like, "Hey, there are people falling out of the sky." Like no one thinks to like
hilarious.
No one sees anything. Like that's what I like about the movie. None of the rules of the universe are explained. Like you don't have to know all the little details and everything. It's just this is the world.
This is what it is.
This is what it is.
Just go with us.
Just go with it. Just laugh at it. Think it's strange, but it's brilliant in its.
If you have not seen this film, it needs to be on your list of movies to watch. Hopefully it's streaming for you. Yeah, I'm going to cross my fingers.
I'm sure it's streaming somewhere. I'm sure you can at least buy it on Amazon Instant Video for like $3 because it's an older movie, so it should be fine. And the hair in this film, Cameron Diaz's hair, her wig is insane, and then John Cusack's hair.
Both. I mean, whoever did that hairstyling has got to win an award.
I don't know, because then is it John Malkovich? I can't remember who has the ponytail, but is it John Malkovich? Like someone enters John Malkovich's mind and stays there for like years. Oh yeah, it's like John Cusack. And then he grows his hair out, and he has a really creepy ponytail. And I'm like, oh, and he becomes a puppeteer, and yeah, oh yeah, it's absolutely insane. This movie is so weird. I need to watch it more recently. I saw it like a year or two ago, maybe. But I need to watch it like today because I have off of work, so I might just not do any errands. And I might just not do errands and watch it. Okay, one more piece of trivia. Director Spike Jonze claimed in an interview that when he was shopping the screenplay around in Hollywood, at least one unspecified producer asked if he could possibly rewrite the film as being Tom Cruise. Oh. So what if you entered Tom Cruise's mind instead of John Malkovich?
Hold on. Can we just do a sequel?
Let's do a sequel, and we entered different celebrities' heads. and see what that's like.
Oh my gosh.
Can I say, though, like, this film was brilliant and I love it. I could see Tom Cruise as that role entering his head. Because when John Cusack does it, or when whoever enters it, and he has, and like the Malkovich character has a long hair, you know, the ponytail, and is all acting all goofy. I got a very Born on the 4th of July vibe from that. So Tom Cruise could do it. You know, I mean, I feel like
I would see that film.
That would be insane. Oh, and then it, like, every time you entered his head, he'd be in like a Scientology meeting or something, and like you get a whole. It's like Going Clear 2.0. Whoa. I mean, you could have a whole just inside of his crazy, absolutely insane life and weird. He probably just like smiles to himself in the mirror every morning. And is like, let's go for a run, Tom. And like, what if you're in Tom Cruise's head?
Let's do it, please.
Let's do it.
Periscope is kind of along the lines of this, isn't it?
Periscope is totally being John Malkovich. Oh my gosh. You just sit there with the camera flipped to your face and talk to everyone. That's absolute. Let's Periscope it for sure.
All right. So thank you for being John Malkovich. We went from... Let's take it from the top. We went from A Christmas Story. From there, we went to Christmas movies. I did White Christmas. Stacey did Elf. Off of there, she did characters that enter another realm with Nightmare Before Christmas and Being John Malkovich. And I went to Christmas classics and started with Mickey's A Christmas Carol. And now I'm going to present a movie that I know Stacey has not seen because she told me she had not seen it, which is It's a Wonderful Life.
Never seen it.
January 7th, 1947, an angel helps a compassionate but disparagingly frustrated businessman by showing what life would have been like if he never existed. Starring James Stewart as George Bailey, Donna Reed as Mary Hatch, Lionel Barrymore as Mr. Potter, that's the great uncle of Drew Barrymore, and Henry Travers as Clarence. Directed by Frank Capra, and written by Francis Goodrich and Albert Hackett. It was nominated for 5 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Actor for Jimmy Stewart, Best Director, Best Sound, and Best Film Editing. The budget was $3.1 million, and it only made $3.3 million at the box office, so it was considered a big flop, but has obviously recently, over the years, has gained a lot of notoriety, as well as, it was nominated for Best Picture, so the numbers of the box office don't really tell us anything.
Now, can I say, I heard a story about why this has become a Christmas classic, and it's actually more of a paperwork and accounting glitch.
Oh, okay, fun.
Okay, so
tell me.
As you said, it first flopped when it came out in the box office.
Yes.
And then someone, every year or every 25 years or however, movie rights work, you're supposed to, buy the rights back or sign the rights back, or, you have to keep
a copyright, expires.
Right, expires. And someone forgot to, redo it. Whoever owns it, so it was just a glitch in, accounting or whatever. They forgot to get the rights again, so it's now public domain.
Oh, so
or
it's
something like that. So
open source sort of thing.
Yeah, open source. So it was really cheap to show on all the movie channels, TNT, Turner Classic Movies, whatever. And so maybe 20, 30 years ago, it was just a really cheap movie to show because it was so, non-expensive. And so inexpensive, that is, non-expensive is not a word, inexpensive. So all these channels bought it and would show it all the time. And then once people started seeing it all the time, they were like, oh, this must be a classic Christmas movie because they're showing it on every channel. Let's watch this. And that's how it became known as this classic Christmas film. But actually back in the day, no one saw it. It was a huge flop, as you said. So I just thought that was interesting.
But it's a good movie.
It is.
So this debuted a week after William Wyler's The Best Years of Our Lives, which they think explains why it was a disappointment at the box office, because it was up against such a big film. But honestly, I don't know. I love this movie, but it's been so long since I've seen it because it's one of those films where it's like, oh yeah, I've seen that. So now I just see it in bits and pieces, and I haven't sat down to watch it I haven't sat down to actually watch it start to finish in maybe 10 years. But they do have some interesting trivia that I thought was kind of fun. Apparently films before this used to use cornflakes painted white for falling snow effect. But because the cornflakes were so loud, the dialogue would then have to be dubbed over later. And Frank Capra wanted to record the sound live. So they had to try like a new sort of a snow effect. And they developed this thing called foamite. I don't know. It's a firefighting chemical, I guess, with soap and water. And then they pumped it up at the high pressure to create the silent falling snow.
Oh.
And
movie magic.
Movie magic. Someone had to create that. Like someone had to like, hey, let's try these components together and see if that makes it so we don't have to, paint cornflakes. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Stewart and Frank Capra both say this is their favorite film that they've made, which is nice. There is a scene. Oh, and it's the only film that in history to originate from a greeting card.
Whoa. What? It originated from a greeting card. What is this?
I know.
Please reveal more about this information.
That's all I have.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Thanks, Brienne.
I dropped the ball. I should have looked up what greeting card inspired. It's a Wonderful Life. But listen, this is an opportunity for all of us to have some homework now. We all know it's based on a greeting card.
Students, I expect reports on my desk tomorrow, a.k.a. tweet me.
So one of my favorite scenes in the film is they have this dance. They're at this dance and they're dancing together. And then all of a sudden, the gym floor opens up and there's a pool under the gym floor. And of course, the main characters end up dancing their way into the pool without knowing it. Mm-hmm. But that actually exists. There is an actual gym with the pool underneath, and that's Beverly Hills High School.
Whoa, cool.
So there you go. They can actually do that.
Awesome. Wait, so it opened up when they were standing on it? Or how, what?
They weren't standing on the particular spot, but there was a dance in the gym. And they were dancing, maybe a dance, not necessarily dance competition, but everyone was watching them dancing. Mm-hmm. They were kind of in the middle of the circle, if you will. And then all of a sudden, some character presses the button to open up, some prankster from high school.
Oh, this would be hilarious. Let's all drown.
Exactly. So then it starts to open up, and then they're still dancing, and the characters don't know what's happening. Mm-hmm. And then they're doing this dance move, and all of a sudden they're in the pool. But then everyone else just starts jumping in because they're all
nice.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Oh, fun. Okay. It's in black and white, right?
It is. Okay. It is in black and white. This is Donna Reed's first starring role, so good for her. And, you know what? Jimmy Stewart also, revised the role for, an hour radio show or something that was, It's a Wonderful Life in an hour. Mm-hmm. And I thought,
that's fun.
How fun is that?
That's really cool.
And they also wanted Cary Grant originally. But then that was when it was developing in another studio. And then once Frank Capra got his hands on it, he decided, let's write this for Jimmy Stewart and we'll put him as the lead. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Voted the number one inspirational film of all time for AFI's 100 Years, 100 Cheers in 2006. So
nice.
There you go. That
sounds lovely. I know I gotta watch it. It's just one of those movies where I know it'll eventually come across my lap.
Right.
I'll eventually watch it.
It is depressing. I will say that.
That's what I heard. Doesn't he commit suicide?
He's going to.
He wants to, and he this is him seeing what it's like if he had never existed. But he's about to jump off a bridge, right?
Right.
That's dark.
It is. It's dark, and then it gets really happy, and then from there, I feel once the happiness starts, that's when it all just kind of.
So is it
together.
Christmassy though?
It is. It's
around
at Christmas
time, so it's it's got Christmas themes in it.
It has Christmas themes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll watch it then. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. You should watch it.
Okay. All right.
Put that on your list.
It's on my list. I have a very, very long notes list on my phone, movies to see, and it grows every day.
We have a lot of movie link tweets today.
Do we now?
We do.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a try.
All right.
So we tweet out our first link off of our feature film. So our first link was Christmas movies. Mm-hmm. So I tweeted out, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Benji Bauman says Edward Scissorhands. Chris Zimmerman and Aaron Parisian say A Christmas Story. Travis Waldkadowski says Home Alone. Gremlins, Jingle All the Way. Friar Tuck and Danny Moreno say Home Alone. Brian Hurst, A Christmas Story, Scrooged Christmas Vacation. Kevin Malisen says Muppets Christmas Carol. Also a good Christmas
Nice.
Carol. Allison Burnett says A Holiday Affair. April Dawn, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Bill, Mickey's Christmas Carol. Leanne, Holiday Inn, White Christmas, Scrooge with Alistair Sim. Lowell Reynolds says It's a Wonderful Life. Tyler Myers, A Christmas Story. Elf, Christmas Vacation, Home Alone. Master Splinter says Elf and Bernard. H. Heidenkamp says Gremlins, Miracle on 34th Street.
You know,
So
I'm
there you go.
surprised no one said the Santa Claus.
I like the Santa Claus.
I love the Santa Claus. I remember really, really liking that movie when I was little because I loved Tim Allen.
Yes.
And that was at like the height of his powers.
It
And
was.
It was. And he is Santa Claus and he's Buzz Lightyear. Tim Allen's great.
I never saw the sequels.
I didn't
How
see
were
the
they?
sequels either.
Okay.
I don't think. Well, no, I saw them. I don't remember them though. I don't want to taint the memory. So
Sure.
let's only remember the Santa Claus.
I wouldn't mind seeing the third because I do like Martin Short. But I'm still, I don't know. I'm just a little worried.
Doesn't he play Jack Frost or
Yes.
something? Like he's the villain of the movie?
Yes.
That sounds fun. That sounds super weird and fun. I might actually have to watch that. I love the Santa Claus. I should have done that one. I mean, I love
He
the
goes
movies I
to a different
picked, but
realm. You're right.
He does.
We
That's
could have
right.
done that.
Oh, I could have done it. Dang it. That's
And
okay.
you could have done Hocus Pocus
I
because you
could-
were talking about that before.
I
Because
know.
those ladies come to another realm of.
Well, they go from hell and
They
then
go
back
from
to Earth.
yes.
So,
So there we go.
I mean, Hocus Pocus can be worked into any
It probably could.
link that we do. I can pick something for that. We'll talk about Hocus Pocus someday. Don't worry, I'm on it.
Okay.
Okay, so we also like to play the game. Of course, our podcast name is inspired by the game 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
It is.
So we are going to say how Kevin Bacon links up to our feature film. Kevin Bacon was in She's Having a Baby with John Ashton, who was in Honky Tonk Freeway with Peter Billingsley, who was in A Christmas Story, who played Ralphie. So there
Yay.
you go.
There you
go. Okay. Now we got to do.
Now's the time
Now's the time.
to close out the podcast with our favorite segment.
Oh gosh.
that
You know
we
what I
call-
should have done is printed out the lines. Can you look up some dialogue from A Christmas Story?
Sure.
And
Which
we'll do a
character are we
scene.
talking about?
You know what? We can do this scene with Flick and Ralphie. Just go to IMDb and look up quotes, and it should be under there.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do a scene. I'm going to be playing Flick, and Rocky and/or Stacy is going to be playing Schwartz, and this is from A Christmas Story.
Oh gosh. Okay, here we go.
And scene. Are you kidding? Stick my tongue to that stupid pole? That's dumb.
It's 'cause you know it'll stick.
You're full of it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Why double dog dare ya?
Now it was serious. A double dog dare. What else was there but triple dare ya? And then the coup de grace all dares, the sinister triple dog dare.
I triple dog dare ya. Yo, I triple dog dare ya.
And scene.
Scene.
Excellent.
So, for those of you that don't know, I do a very horrendous Rocky impression, and every time we do a podcast, we say, will this film be better if Stallone, as Rocky, played a character? So that was Rocky as Schwartz. I triple dog dare you to tweet me and tell me that was bad, because that was fantastic. That was Oscar-worthy performance.
I think we
Screw
should do
you
this
guys.
more often. Like,
Well,
pull
we
up
need-
a scene.
Yeah, we need to like pull a scene. I
Yeah.
thought about that, but then I forgot to print it. So,
Okay,
you know, that was
okay.
my bad.
Next
but I'll
time.
have that
Next time,
prepared
that's
for
going to
next
be
time.
new.
For sure. That way I'm not just like trying to think of what are the lines again. But
Exactly.
we can actually do it in a professional manner. We're improving on ourselves.
We're
in this
trying. We're
podcast.
trying.
We're trying really hard.
So, Stacy, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at SOHoward2012. I also write for Schmozno as well as do the horror flicks and kill recommendations of the week for our friend Cobster and Cody's podcast.
Woohoo!
Yay.
You can find me on social media at Miss Movies, and that's all.
Are you on Instagram
I
too?
am Miss_movies. You can find
She's
me there
fantastic.
as well, and you can find me here
Yay.
every
in your living
GD
room.
day. Oh wait, no, that's Devin Faraci. He likes to say that. You can find me every goddamn day.
Oh,
But
okay.
Therefore,
funny.
I'll change it up a little bit. You can find me every GD day on Twitter.
Well, Merry Christmas, kiddos.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa.
Yeah, and Rocky Boxing Day.
And Rocky Boxing Day.
Yes.
That's right.
Yo, it's Rocky Boxing Day. Jingle bells.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. 6 Degrees of Feature Film is produced by Stacey Howard and me. Special thank you to Ken Knapsack for our intro and Matt Brown for our artwork.